What is up, you guys? The Fallout What If here, and today I'm doing a what if that you guys decided. It was on the polls, and well, the people that won were the ones who picked Darth Vader. Now, let me tell you this: I am a huge fan of him, not because of the whole powers and all that stuff. I think it primarily had to do with his combat and his skills, and the way he was, and the way he carried himself. But I really like the whole past and how he became, like, good in the very end. But he knew in the end that he could never fully mend himself to that point. I just like how he became good, like, in the third episode, not third episode, but, like, third movie of the original Star Wars. I just thought that was too beautiful. And right now I am kind of sick, like a little bit. I did the live stream like moments ago. So, yeah, but either way, this is going to be a different version of Darth Vader, but in Intel, it's going to be a different version of Izuku, and a slightly different world. You see, in this world, people who have quirks are pretty much that. They have quirks. They are awesome, and the human with people there cheering for them. But then you have those that are quirkless. Now, with that being said, there is a few picked out. Every now and then, there's a quirked person. Every 2 years, there's probably somebody now who has a significant amount of energy within them, which grows over time, and it creates life itself. It is one with everybody, but can only be harnessed by the few. Izuku is one of those people who do not have a quirk, but has something far more beautiful and far more scary than that. He is going to possess something called the Force. And with that, people see these people as one or two ways. 3 ways, but they consider them to be either a cheater, someone who is gifted these. They're not widely known, but people that do know this call these people cheaters, because those who do not have quirks are, well, beaten down on society. They're not loved, they're not admired, they're usually just bottom feeders in the eyes of everyone else. But with people who do have the Force, they're considered to be loved, admired. People who have an understanding of life itself. Wiser people in the end. And 3, foul people. People who are conjured by an unknown entity. They are looked upon as if they were sins themselves. Looked at like the devil, look like devils, because of the fact that they have strange abilities. Multiple abilities that people thought of as quirks at first, but then after seeing this, people were scared of them. Not the majority, but a lot of people. Let's say 15% of the of every city in the entire world, basically around 30% of the population, do not like these people. But the rest do not care. They're actually comrades. Like I said, not a lot of people hate them. And some people have turned good. And some very sinister. Izuku is going to be Darth Vader, but there's going to be a little bit of a switch with him. Yeah, sure, he's going to be primarily himself, but he's not going to be evil. I mean, he is going to be evil. Let me start this off. Izuku Midoriya, at the age of 7, unlock the powers of the Force. Throughout his time, he was friends with Bakugo. Although he did not have a quirk, Bakugo did still admire the fact that he was always persistent on trying to use the Force, thinking that one day he might actually have someone to battle with, someone to fight on his side. And with that happening, Izuku kept going at it, until one day Bakugo got mad at him for defending somebody who didn't like him. This woman has blonde hair. Well, yeah, she has not blonde hair. Oh yeah, she has blonde hair. And she has purplish eyes. Now Izuku looked at her and said that she cannot be harmed. She's not a bad person. And with Bakugo and him getting into an argument, Izuku, scared, tried to defend himself. And Bakugo seeing him at first, then seeing the sky still, Bakugo was completely shocked on what Izuku has done. Izuku was shocked at what he'd done. Now, Izuku looks at his hands and said, "What did he do?" The bullies looked at him and they say, "What'd you do to the boss?" And Izuku says he doesn't know. And this is when Bakugo says that he might have used that power that they were talking about a while back. And Izuku lit up like a beam of light, saying that he actually has it. He has the Force. Now, Izuku goes around not telling people, but making his life easier. He has a deep connection with the Force. After the Doctor, seeing how he does his abilities, saying that he's so adept at doing the stuff that some Force wielders have. But to see a kid that can wield multiple was kind of a rarity. Inko's mom says, "What do you mean?" And they say that Izuku has the ability to shoot a force of a force. I don't know how to say it, but you guys know what I mean. He has the ability to push people away who aren't even close to him. And not only that, he can lift stuff. While that being the case, Izuku can also do things to prank people, like with one of the nurses. He told the nurse that if he can, get him some apple juice. And the guy, the nurse, he says, right now he has to stay with the doctor. And Izuku somehow found out how to do it and just waved his hands, saying, "You can get me an apple juice, and please give mommy an orange juice." And this is when he says, "I will get you an orange juice and get your mother I will get you an apple juice and give your mother an orange juice." And he walked away. The doctor, seeing this, was convinced on how it works, not knowing how it works, but seeing that he can do it. And something else that he can do is pretty much, I don't know how to explain it, but the way it is he has enhanced senses. When he heard a piece of a pencil falling and hitting the ground 12 yards away, looking around and seeing that there was a woman there. And this woman dropped her pencil. And he said he knew somebody dropped their pencil. The doctor says, "What are you talking about?" And he explains to him, "Well, I just saw somebody drop their pencil. Oh, not saw. I heard somebody drop their pencil." And this is when the doctor said He did he? Well, with what Izuku's doing right now, or what he's showing him, it is possible, and there's no way that a kid's just gonna be lying to him like that. So he explains everything to his mom, and his mom is like ecstatic, telling his father, Hisashi, that he has the Force. But the father isn't too enthusiastic about it. He tells Inko that he doesn't hate it, but it kind of does freak him out from time to time. With this, Inko says, "Come on now, he's not doing anything wrong. Besides, he's trying to do good, and he wants to be a hero like All Might." And this is when Hisashi says, yeah, you are right. I guess it just freaks me out how people without quirks can use it so good, so effortlessly, and without having to train for it, while people have to train for their powers. And this is when Inko says, no. The thing is that people, well, as far as I know from the books, people can have the Force inside of them. Every single one of us. But the thing is that some people can just wield it and some people can't. Izuku is lucky enough to even have the Force, considering he doesn't have a quirk at all. And Hisashi says, yeah, you're right. It's better than him getting bullied for the rest of his life. Inko smiling and says, see, that's the spirit. And them living a quite happy life. With Izuku being better friends with people, everybody liking him. And this is when, well, things kind of turn sour. You see, while he was on his way, Izuku went was going to his house, but decided to go to the convenience store. And during that time, a man followed him and quickly tried to take him away. But with Izuku's abilities, Izuku basically pushed him with his Force powers and paid for the food and decided to just run away as fast as he can. Seeing that he can actually run a little faster than he normally could, saying that this is no time to feel excited, he has to run for his life. And with this, he actually makes it to his house afterwards, not realizing that the man had a speed quirk and ran to him, wondering how this kid was faster than him, and says it doesn't matter. He's gonna get some of his guys and grab him for basically the doctor. And with this, Izuku basically lives his life still for right now. For right now, my bad. He's gonna be, what's the word? I did kind of forget. Alright, sorry about that. I couldn't concentrate right now. But Izuku wasn't, what's the word? Wise enough to see what was going on. He may have the Force, but he's not completely understanding the powers that he truly has. So, he meets this blonde girl, though, and let's just say her name is... I don't know what to call her. Let's call her Abigail for now, until I find a suitable name. Abigail is a girl with blonde hair, and she only has one quirk. Her quirk is called Eagle Eyes. Now, she's from the countryside, so she has long blonde hair. And, well, she's kind of fond of Izuku. She didn't know that he had powers, But because he stood up for her, she felt like he could be his, well, captain. Started to call him the captain or the boss, and for a couple of days, that's how it was. Anytime Izuku needed some help or he would try to find out what to do, basically Abigail would just look at him and says, "Alright, boss," or "Yes, captain." And Izuku would be like, "I'm not even a captain." Well, it's whatever. And everything was going on with these two. Until one day Izuku got home. Now, Abigail and him were walking to his house. And with that, Izuku, well, he basically saw what was going on. He saw a white van, and he thought, oh, there's somebody at the house. And Abigail says, "You want me to go with you?" And he says, no, it's alright. I'll see you later." And she says, "Alright, boss." And Izuku says, yeah, she's always gonna keep calling me that, huh? Well, anyway, Izuku when going inside the house, sees that his mother and father are on the floor. Now, Izuku, looking at this, saying, "Mom, Dad, what's going on? Why are you guys on the floor? What's happening?" Seeing three men looking at him, and Izuku trying to use the force to try to push these two, but the same guy that was running after him ran right behind him and actually kicked him into the wall. Izuku, now hurting it from the back, or his back being hurt, says, "What are you doing to my mom?" And the man says, "We're not after her parents. We have to teach them a lesson, though, and let's just say they're not going to be moving the right way anymore." And Izuku just says, "What have you done?" And he's getting upset, trying to push him one more time. Izuku sees nothing but darkness, and he's on the floor. But while trying to get them, Izuku is just wondering to himself, why is this happening? Is it because I did something bad? Or is it because of my powers? He's wondering this in his mind, and he's just trying to realize something's not right. Why was that man following him? Who is he? And he said the doctor. What is he talking about? He's only been to the doctor every couple of weeks, or every couple of months for checkups. And this is when the guy that was holding him gets a rock thrown at his head and says, "What are you doing to Izuku? What are you doing to my boss?" And the man says, "Ah, crap, it's a kid. She saw us. It doesn't matter. Just grab her too. We might use her for something at least. She could probably be another one of those experiments that the doc needs." And so the guy's trying to grab her, but this is when she kept throwing rocks at them. Now the guy right there is getting hit, getting hit every time she keeps throwing a rock. So the guy decides just to shoot fire out of his hands. And basically, Abigail got scared and she started running, but starts throwing rocks at them, and basically a little bit of a chase comes. And with this, one of the guys almost grabs her, but then they see a cop, and the cop sees them. And this is when she says it worked. Basically, Izuku, while going home, she decided to go check on him. She was thinking that if she scares him, this will be kind of funny. But then after hearing what happened with Izuku getting kicked from the back, kicked in the back, she saw the guys grabbing him and his parents on the floor, and her being from the countryside, knowing that something like this could happen and being warned about it, she decided to call the cops. And she said, "Hello, my name is Abigail, and the boss, I mean Izuku, Midoriya, is getting attacked by these people, and his parents are on the floor. We're at such and such residence. Please come help." So help does arrive, but she got thrown in the air by one of the other guys who had a strength quirk. That's how he was able to basically beat down the freaking parents. So, while Abigail's running away to the cops decide to start arresting, but they started running back to the guy in the van, and they drove off. Abigail saying that, "Where are they at?" And this is when the cop says, "Don't worry, we'll find them." And she basically says, "All right." In no time, the cops are gonna be the cops are gonna grab Izuku, and Izuku's gonna be all right. And this is when, well, minutes turn into hours turn into days turn into weeks, and then following that, months. Months turn into years. As Izuku, well, he doesn't make it. Going to the, after that, meeting one of the doctors. I forgot the quirk doctor that talked to him, saying that he wasn't going to have anything. Well, you're right. He didn't have anything. But after finding out that he has something called the Force, wanting to see how this could work and how he could take it on a biological level, maybe this could help him out in his studies and his research on these, and decided to use a Nomu-fied tactics, saying that this man right here, he is good at, this child is going to be the best killer for All For One's mighty army of Nomus. So, sorry about that. For Izuku to wake up every single day and being tortured, Izuku's eyes aren't green and shiny anymore. They become dulled. They become black. Black. I mean, the white part of the eyes become black after torture and after experimentation, seeing what works and what ticks. The doctor looks at him and says that everything will be alright. All he has to do is just give him what he needs. The answers to the Force. And Izuku's saying, what is he talking about? He doesn't know what the Force truly is. The doctor says, oh, he knows that. He knows that. There's no reason that he would lie to him. That one day he's gonna find out. And for now, he's gonna be, well, experimenting on him until he becomes good enough to be a Nomu, using the tactics so he could serve All For One and be the best Nomu out there, like he said before. Now, with that being said, Bakugo hears the news from this. Abigail tells Bakugo. Bakugo gets sad. Very sad. Saying that the idiot couldn't survive long enough in order for these two to have, to basically be the best heroes. Izuku's death, supposedly death, caused him an immense amount of pain. And this is when, well, Abigail decides to one day tell Bakugo that she's gonna join the army, and she's gonna try to be the best of the best for Izuku and catch the people who did this. Maybe one day the boss could see him up in heaven, see her up in heaven. While this is happening, Izuku sorry. Now, with this, Izuku's body is completely morphed. With Izuku being around 14, the age of 14, his skin, instead of that pale, instead of that whitish, yellowish skin that he had, you know, Asian skin. It takes place in Japan, so the skin is kind of yellowish or whitish. I don't know what the complexity or the skin complex that Japanese people have. So yeah, sorry. But either way, it turns from that to an onyx-like color. And with that, Izuku's body looks more masculine. It looks more destructive, capable of lifting stuff. It's not on the bulky side, but it is on the point where he can hold his own on a fist fight. His enhanced abilities, his appearance looks different. He still has his hair, but his hair is more wildish. It's more longer, a bit more longer, and spikier. Now, Izuku is walking around the facility and is listening to every command that the doctor gives him. And this is when he doesn't feel nothing. He feels nothing until one day the professor gets upset. And this is when he wonders this is when he wonders what is causing him to have the Force. And he looks up all the records of Izuku. This is when Izuku looks up. Unknowingly, the doctor, if he would have saw this, would have been thinking to himself, that is very odd for a Nomu to do something like that. But something is telling the Nomu itself that this is not the way it should have been. Until he looks at his parents. He sees that, how did these two create Izuku? He knows that these two reproduce sexually. But he's thinking to himself, how did they do it? What is the answer? And sees that his mother is technically in a wheelchair, who lost one of her limbs due to the fact that one of the guys actually brutalized her and broke her bone to where it was basically grinded. And the father, well, he pretty much couldn't walk right due to his stomach being pierced so hard by the strength guy, and his legs burnt a lot, so his nerves aren't working all the time. Izuku looks at this and wonders to himself, Mom, Dad, oh gosh, I haven't seen you in such a long time. It's been ages. I've been here this whole time in such a dark and dainty place. I don't get any for cooking. And not only that, I lost my friends. I lost everything. Why? Why was it I? Why did I have this? I can't believe I thought to myself that these powers would have brought me joy. It's a curse. I hate myself for it. I would have been something far more better. I could have been a hero. I could have been the peace. I could have been a symbol of justice. But in the end, I'm now a monster. The Nomu starts moving uncontrollably. It starts moving his body, with a lot of his body just now aching and resisting itself to always stand still or until being spoken to. This is when Nomified Deku just yelled out in raw fury, just wondering who did this, who was the monster that actually hurt me. Then he looks at the doctor, trying to grab at him, but falling to the ground. This is when Izuku just starts crawling towards him. The doctor telling him that he should stay still, move away from him, and having to get people on him, from bodyguards to other Nomus. Izuku just gets furious and just moves them all out of the way. And the doctor seeing this, that the Nomu that he created is no longer listening to him. This is the first time ever that a Nomu that was used by the Force would disobey their own creator. And Izuku just starts running towards him. And this is when the thugs that attacked his parents just stand right there and defend him, saying that even though he's gotten older, doesn't mean that he can know anything. He's still a monster, so they can deal with him. Now the thing is that these people know who he is, but these people also know that he has the Force, and these people hate Force users. Throughout this whole life, their lives, either they've been bullied, or they lost to somebody, or somebody got hurt because of somebody using the Force. And the guy that started running towards him and trying to stab him basically gets grabbed by Izuku and just gets his neck and squeezes it. While squeezing it, the guy with the fire quirk sorry about that. The guy who grabs him just starts moving him away and away. But it doesn't work in the end, because Izuku just grabs whatever force that he once had and just recreates the push. But Furious, all he could do is just grab something. And this is when Izuku can feel something. Looking up, seeing the man with the fire choking. And the guy right there is like, what is he doing? Is he choking him? And Izuku just wonders, what would happen if he turned his hand that looks like it's holding a cup gently and holding it with tenderness? What if he was to break that cup? And like the fires that was once snuffed out, so was the man's life. And this is when the doctor says that they could do something like that. And he starts running away and having other Nomus fighting him. This is when Izuku starts grabbing anything that he could find, from a chair to even a sword, even even a gun that can just paralyze people. Just trying to stab and fight his way to get to the doctor. But this is when he finds out that he's in a little island. In a remote island that is far away. Very far away. And, well, Izuku, he's wondering to himself, how is he going to get out of here? And this is when he goes into somewhere. Now, here's the thing. Izuku's face does not look... It looks the same. Just think of Izuku, but just with a black color. Here's how I would say it. Give me a second here, people. Now, Izuku his skin would look like this, but it'll be like two times lighter than his, because in the end we need to see, like, I guess, like, his face is not the face that I would think of, but it's dark enough to where he looks more like a Nomu. I don't want him to be purple though, because, you know, dark purple in a Darth Vader outfit, it was either that or make him pale. But it's weird to see a pale Nomu. A pale Nomu, that would be weird to me. Like a skinwalker or something like that. So, and besides, I think this guy's awesome. Especially with his dumb, cute face. Not homo. Anyway. Now, while this is happening, Izuku is just now left with his thoughts. After killing most of the people around there, he decided that he might as well just go back home. But as well as thinking, what can he truly do? Sure, he has an enhanced body now, but as well, he's a monster. Sure, his skin may have changed, but also he has characteristics like a little bit. He has a bit of claw. He has a bit of claw. He has claws. No, and he's taller than usual. He's around 7 foot. 7 foot even right now. He will grow even bigger with age. But right now, he's not the same kid as his parents knew him to be. He's scared of being known as an outcast or as a monster. So Izuku did what he thought to do best. He would try to find somebody like him who fits the force, the people that uses the force. Then he kind of was reminded of, like, this organization that the government would provide. A bit of force users that can stand guard or protect the city, and also protect the country. I don't know what to call the place that it would be, but it's the Darth Core. Yeah, Darth Core. Where everybody there is outcasted from whatever they're at, decides to make use of themselves by using their powers to vanquish evil. Basically, they're killing regardless of whether people like them or not. And they're 100% protected by the government, so nobody can actually do anything to them. Now, what is the Darth Core? The Darth Core is basically... Think of this. Think of like Jedis. But they're not bounded by those regulations of the Jedi. They're not bounded by the Sith. they're basically warriors doing whatever bidding there is. And they have a free will of their own, depending on whether they want whatever they want to do. The thing is that they are still assigned to actually fight battles in different countries if the government tells them to. So Izuku decides to do that, but in this he's still in this place, so he has to stay on the island for a couple of more years to train himself. And to do that, he's gonna have to use the Force. He doesn't like it, but he's still gonna have to use the abilities that he was given. And he's gonna also, once he goes over there to that place, he really is gonna try out their armor, since it looks awesome. And it's also training weights. So for a training montage, Izuku learns every way to get out of the island. He can either swim, fly, which apparently he can't do since, he doesn't have Nomu wings, or he can also build himself a boat. Now, with doing this, Izuku decides that now that he's at the age of 17, he's going back home. And people are gonna change. There is gonna be Izuku Midoriya. And he's going to basically invade the Doctor's place. He's gonna kill this man named One For All. And basically make sure that he never comes up ever again. It's nothing noble. It's a revenge kind of thing. Now, when Izuku is done with his training, he starts collecting wood, making himself a raft, but also putting other stuff there so it could be easier to see or use. And with Izuku's force abilities, makes a spare, so that way if the one he's on is broken, he can also use this. So he kind of piles one raft on top of another one, and then piles another one on top of that one. Now that he's going to, wherever he's going to, it's gonna be easy. It's not gonna be smooth sailing, but he's gonna make it there in like through 2 months. Now, with this, Izuku is on the seas, wondering where is he going to, but he feels a strange connection to a direction that he usually was at when he was a child. Those memories resurfacing, decides to go to that direction, and he also learns how to meditate, how to harness that force that he had. Now, is he going to be predominantly evil? No. It's not going to be evil. He's going to be... it's going to be kind of mixed. I mean, he's still going to kill people and all, but he's still doing it for the government. Kind of like how Darth Vader did what he had to do for the Imperials. So that is what Deku is, and that is what Darth was. These two were going to be high in position, but they still lived in the political world. So that way, no chaos could truly reign supreme, and that way, nothing bad could happen to him and to whatever he's going to be doing. Now, while Izuku lands to the shores, people see this man and see how tall he is. And Izuku, remembering where this place was, he says Dagobah Beach. It's filthy. Oh gosh. How could people be so cruel to this, to the place where he used to go to? decides to go home. And, well, I'm gonna give myself a second here. So, sorry about that. Izuku wanders into his house with Izuku's mom yelling out in fear, saying that these two have, that there's an intruder in the house. After that, a dog with a quirk named Spike decides to actually attack Izuku. Izuku, knowing that it's his mom's dog, just reluctantly took the brunt force of the attack, which Spike isn't a normal dog. He is known as the master of dog. The Spike actually has a quirk. It actually has two quirks, a half and half quirk, a speed quirk and a sword quirk, which makes him, which gives him the ability to run fast at 80 miles an hour at minimum, and if he wants to go fast, he goes double that, which is 160 miles an hour, like from 0 to 160 in like seconds, and pretty much attacks Izuku. And Izuku here just says, "Mom, it's me, Izuku." This is when the dog smells Izuku, but he doesn't smell 100% like him. And this is when Hisashi just runs in and actually kicks in. Doesn't kick him, well, he does kick him, but not a strong enough kick. And this is when Izuku actually just feels this, and he basically just grabs, makes a fist, and basically just crushes the freaking, what is that called? He crushes one of the crutches on his dad's, that his dad had, making him fall. And this is when Spike actually tries to attack Izuku, but Izuku was too quick for this and says, "Not again," and grabs the dog by the leash and actually just puts his hand over his face and calms him down, making it to the point where Spike actually goes to sleep. His mom looking at him and says, "That right there, you used the force, but how?" And Izuku says, "Mom, I'm your son." It's a long story. And basically, after a couple of minutes of explaining, his father actually walks up to him limping, and he gives his dad a hug. And the mom is just starting to cry and cries uncontrollably, and then Izuku forgets on what happened. He says that he knows that somebody attacked him, and now he's no longer, well, he's no longer able to look the way he does. And this is when the dad actually sees that what's happened to him, and he sees that there's a bunch of stitches on him, like he's been experimented, and his wounds do heal, but that stitching is always there. And not only that, his scars there's scars around his body. These scars look like weird shade of purple. And Izuku looks at them and says, "I'm sorry, but I'm no longer the Izuku that you guys know. So, I actually need to go somewhere. I won't be able to see you guys for a couple of more years, but bear with the fact that I'm still alive." As he walks out of the house, telling them that in 3 years, around this date, he will come back, and hopefully his mom can make him his favorite meal. This is when Inko just starts crying and says that his boy is back, his sweet baby boy, and Hisashi is happy about this. He is no longer the man that he once was. After all, his dad saw that his son was gone, his wife is crippled, and so is he. And they have to live through constant fear of wondering if somebody gonna follow them. Now Izuku goes actually to the Darth Core. And this is when a bunch of men in black attire just says, "Who are you, kid?" And this is when he says, "Hello, my name is Izuku Midoriya. I want to join the ranks of the Dark Core." And this is when a bunch of people start saying, "Are you sure, kid? There's a requirement to being in the Dark Core. We won't allow you unless you have that unless you have the Force." This is when Izuku just says, "Yes, I do." And they say, "All right. Do you know the basic abilities, such as pulling and pushing objects, the ability to change mindsets, and also having sensory abilities?" This is when Izuku remembers all the training that he has done, and he's realized that he's been fighting with nothing more than his bare fist and spears that he has made out of sticks and rocks. And his life, he had to always worry about where he was at, making a 100% memory lock on to the island that he was at, knowing where his stash is at if he ever does somehow get back over there. And not only that, where all the food was, and also which animals were good, which animals were bad to him. Pretty much he lived there, and he had to survive with just using the Force. And he says yes. And this is when a man named let's see. No, I'm gonna use some of the space. Just use some Star Wars names. A man named Darth Dooku. Well, his name is Dooku. He's not a low ranker. He's a high ranker. And he pretty much tells him that, "So you want to join my ranks?" And remember this, guys, whichever names I use, just know that I'm using just Star Wars names. They don't have their personalities because, one, that would be hard to do, but I do know some of them, and I will use some of the weapons that they've used, so that way it can at least be a little better. But a man named Dooku looks at him and says, "So you want to join us? Well, you can join. But remember, you're going to start on the small. You're going to start on a small level. And not only that, since you are of age to actually join us, we won't actually require identification. Because in this place, identification isn't needed too much. Your name and ranking and your badge number will be given to you." This is when Izuku says, "Yes, sir." And this is when basically Izuku, for a year of being in there, of being in the Darth Core, everybody sees his true potential, and his potential just skyrockets every now and then. But Izuku gets stronger and better at what he does. Everybody knowing him as the invader, who basically he fought 3 kinds of wars with different countries, who fought them when trying to steal their Force users. Now, keep in mind, Force users are rare, but they're also valuable, due to the fact that these people can do other things too. Some of them have even special abilities to even see in the future. And with that comes great knowledge and understanding of how something can work. This is when Izuku basically starts using a weapon. Now, he's been using mostly a blaster and also some spears that are always the strongest, but he can finally use a weapon that people know as the lightsaber. And I know that there's what color is he gonna use? Is he gonna use green? Is he still good? No. No. He's still gonna use red because it gives Darth Vader who he is. And not only that, due to how his body is, they decide to give him challenges. And Izuku takes them from time to time. From killing quirked animals, from killing like insanely strong people. Well, not insanely, but killing people who are like from drug places who don't surrender. Yeah, let's see. He even took down a hero who tried to basically, well, what's it called? Use his power in order to, or use his hero status to basically do what he wanted. Izuku will do things so that way he can maintain the peace. He is known as the violent ruler. He's known as the violent man who protects people, but no matter what they do, he will cut his foes down. And he's a dog to the Darth Core. No matter what anybody tells him to do, he will do it, or he will die. And people gave him the name Darth, and then after that, he chose a title. Everybody has a different name, and there's one known as Dark Maul, because everybody's known a lot of people know who Darth Maul is. And there is a General Grievous, and I decided to give him the forearms. But they're really different from the Star Wars franchise. Darth Maul is a man with jet black hair, and he does have like tattoos around his face and body. He doesn't wear a mask. He wears more of a lighter attire to make sure that he's always fast enough to kill. General Grievous, however, uses armaments such as automail, which gives him 2 more arms. So that way he can fight at a better rate. And also giving him bio enhancements to make himself even stronger. Sorry about that. And Izuku, he asks for some weights. He actually asks for a suit that could actually be heavy and be kind of uncomfortable from time to time, stiffening his movements, and not only that, making it to where it's heavy enough for him to not run or just jump as high as he could back then. And people are thinking to themselves, wouldn't that be like a... And the other guy, another guy just finishes and says, yeah, it's kind of just weakening himself. And people are saying, why would he just nerf his abilities? This is what Izuku just says. This is so that way I can always keep myself in check. And I can always grow closer to my own self, instead of somebody who has to rely on 100% of his abilities. I want to be strong enough so that way when something bad happens, all I just need to do is use 20%. But right now, I have to limit myself to the highest at a high amount to achieve that goal. Izuku just readies himself for one day if combat is used. Now, his name is Darth Vader. His real name is Izuku Midoriya. But he takes away the Midoriya part, so that way his name is technically Izuku. The ranking of a level 3. There's 10 levels, And right now, Izuku's at level 4, and at his age, that's pretty good. Count Dooku is around level 7. Then also there's a man that is General Grievous, who's a level 3. And then there's Darth Maul, who's a level 5. Is there a General Palpatine? Yes. I mean, yes. Palpatine, and his real name is, his evil name is Sidious. So, yeah. He's like a level 10. He's like the man in charge. He doesn't need to do anything. He just does what he wants. Not he doesn't do what he wants. He does things in order so that he does things in order so that way the government can always supply him with what he needs. And also he listens to them because like I said, the Darths, everybody that's a Darth in there or whatever rank they are, cuz Izuku's just his name is Darth because he's a combat fighter. Generals are for like Palpatine and all that stuff. And there's other ones, but the majority of them are Darths. So pretty much, yeah, the Darth Core is pretty much known for being the dogs of the military. Kind of like how Full Metal Alchemist, there's like the state alchemist. Kind of like that. That's the mindset that I'm going for. So they're not evil. As much as every single name and the name Darth is evil, I'm just deciding to make it basically a military point. And there's gonna be a person there who's really gonna see him well one day. And right now, Izuku is he's wearing this suit. This is the drip that he's wearing. It's beautiful. I love it actually. There's another one, but he would have to be like around 30 to 30 years old in order to even fit that suit. So that's pretty much it. And that's how I'm going to end it off right now. If anything, I will just do where he meets his love interest. And it's going to be a funny thing. Like, there is going to be lighthearted experiences. But now Izuku is 100% the man, the myth, the legend himself. And he's not going to go easy on people, too. He will be harsh. But at the same time, could this woman actually, start putting humanity inside of his heart? Is he going to still keep looking at himself like a monster? We don't know. And not only that, so his basically appearance is like a 7-foot tall dude with black eyes but purple irises. Like I decided that people that the way how it turns into a monster is okay, but the way that it looks in the end kind of gives it like this. I wanted it to be more powerful, but that's what I'm getting. Some kind of deformed person at times. So yeah, not only that, he's on the more built side, but he's not 100% built. Like he looks just like that. Doesn't look like much, but under there is pretty much like a strong, capable fighter. Now, I'm gonna end it off here. If you guys liked it, like, comment, do subscribe to the channel here, people. This has been the Fallout. What if you're here? Bye.